Today we will be exploring hyperparameters tuning of popular machine learning algorithms and decision trees, random forest, support vector machine, and k-nearest neighbors. So as we move on, we'll be doing replicating the old steps which we had followed, which is importing the important modules of NumPy and Pandas, and loading the data set which we have here. Okay, cool. This is the head, first 5 elements of the data set. So it's not a very important factor to know what the dataset is. As in today's class, we will be exploring more into how we can implement hyperparameter tuning to enhance machine learning algorithm performance. This is the information of the dataset. So they have 569 entries, which means it is a pretty small dataset. So now we have the field called ID and unnamed, right? So these are all useless columns. So in our analysis, they won't make any use and help. So we will knock it off. So we'll knock off ID and unnamed 32. And now we look at the information. We have just the columns that we require. A diagnosis all the way to the column called fractal dimension worst. And these are the first 5 elements. So these are all the important features that we'll be requiring for an analysis and prediction. And these are the classification it should be following. So diagnosis, right? So diagnosis is a target variable, and from radius mean to all the way to the last column known as the fractal dimension worst. So all of these columns are the ones which you use to predict the target variable. So now we'll just firstly you have to encode the variables, right? So we'll be encoding the variables as usual because we have B and M, which may or may not cause trouble. So in a classification, so why face that issue? We'll encode it directly. We'll encode M as 1 and B as 0. So we'll just do that here and encode it and see the value count. So we have 0 as 357 and 1 as 212. So 0 is B and M is 1. And now this is basic train test split. So we'll just split the data into training and testing, and it's done. And these are the shapes of the resulting data. So you have 398 data points for training and 171 for testing, which is pretty good. And then what we will do is we will define the variables. So variable 0 is the target variable, right? Which is diagnosis. And from 1 to 31, they're all independent variables, which are used to predict the target dependent variable. So we are going to split the data into training X and training Y. So just define them and then see their shapes. Okay, this is training data, 398, 30. This testing data. So it looks good. Shapes are also decent. So we'll go ahead. And these are the different algorithms which we'll be exploring. So first we'll apply no hyperparameter tuning on these algorithms. So we have, as I have already told before, decision tree, random forest, SVM, and KNNs. And now with applying hyperparameter tuning, we will explore decision trees, random forest, SVM, and KNN. So decision tree algorithm. So I just explained the decision tree algorithm. So it is nothing but a flowchart like tree structure where an internal node represents a feature or attribute, and the branch represents the decision rule, and each leaf node represents the outcome. Leaf node is nothing but the node which is in the end of the decision tree. If you can visualize a decision tree, right? The nodes at the end of the tree which terminate, the terminal nodes. So I'll just put out a simple decision tree. Yes, so this is the internal root node, okay? The one which you see here. And these are the leaf nodes. And now we'll just import from the sklearn tree package the decision tree classifier and then define the model, fit the model upon the training data, run the prediction upon the testing data, and print the accuracy and bias. Cool. These are the number of incorrectly classified values. So random forest algorithm. So it is an extension of decision trees, which is a non-symbol learning method for classification, regression, and other tasks, which operates by constructing many decision trees at training time and outputting the class that is the mode of all the classes or the mean prediction of the individual trees in case of regression problems. Mode in the case of classification, mean in the case of regression. That's it. So we will import the random forest classifier I put n jobs minus 1 because I want to use all the CPUs in my system. And I fit it upon the training data, I run prediction upon the testing data. And then these are the accuracy. So we print the accuracy based on the training data and the confusion matrix also based on the training data. So support vector machine. So before we move on, I'll just show a nice picture of SVM. So do you see this? During classification time, all the data points are plotted in an n-dimensional plane. Okay. So how you differentiate between these data points is a hyperplane. Do you see this huge square in between the red and blue? It's a hyperplane, which is like the boundary line between the two classes. Okay. So if it belongs to class blue, the point will be put here. If it belongs to class red, the point will be placed here. Cool. This is how an SVM works. So n is what? N is the number of features in your data. For example, if you have 31 features, it is going to be a 31 class, 31 dimension vector subspace. So this is a support vector machine. Let us just kick off its implementation here. So we'll import SVM and get the support vector classifier out of it, fit it upon the training data. It's highly biased, which means it assumes everyone has class 0, which is wrong. So support vector machine is something we have to look into, okay, because it's causing a lot of trouble. So this is the classification report. This one explains the reason why the accuracy is less, okay. The reason for accuracy is low is because it is predicting 100% for class 0, right? Now, nobody has been reclassified correctly. That's the problem here. So support vector machine, we will look into it again and see how we can improve its performance, okay, because this is a very big problem, right? So this is not something we as a data analyst would like to see. So we will get back to support vector machine again. Now let's move on to k-nearest neighbors, okay? So it depends on the number of neighbors from a given point. So I'll just get into this. This is a pretty simple algorithm. So what k-nearest neighbors is that in pattern recognition, the KNN algorithm is not non-parametric method used for classification and regression. So in both cases, the input consists of k closest training examples in the feature space. So assume this is the feature space. This is the number of k closest training samples. Okay. So based on that, the number of closed training samples, the classification is done. So this is how k-nearest neighbor algorithm works. Cool. So I will just load the KNN algorithm with n jobs minus 1, which means it happens in parallel threads, which is faster and makes use of all the CPU cores in a system. So we'll train it up, fit it up on the training data, same old mantra, and the predictions upon the testing data, and print the accuracy and confusion metrics upon the testing data. Just get it done. And wow, this looks good. Now we have done a good exercise of seeing different models. Let us move into hyperparameter tuning now, okay? So in today's hyperparameter tuning algorithm, we will explore the grid search with cross validation, okay? Which is the grid search CV from sklearn's model selection method. So we will define the base model. Base model is what? This is the model upon which we will apply hyperparameter tuning. Hyperparameter tuning means identifying the best hyperparameters that suits this model and the data respectively. Okay. So for a hyperparameter tuning to be happening, we have to define a parameter grid, which is this. So we have maximum features is so and so is as auto squared in log 2, which is nothing but the features in the decision tree algorithm. We have min sample split as to how the each node has to be split, number of minimum leaves, and the random state. Random state is nothing to be bothered about. But these three are very important features that needs to be adjusted. Now that we have defined model, which you see here as decision tree classifier, which is set here, and param grid as params, okay? And n jobs is equal to -1 to make your task faster, okay? So we'll define it as model 1, which is like a grid search model. Now we will fit model 1 upon the training data, okay? All right, now this is the best parameters. Best parameters means the best combination of these three values that makes this model perform good, okay? And run the predictions across the testing data and print the accuracy and confusion metrics across the testing data. So we get it done. It's running. Okay, I think the model completed training. Can you look at the metrics? These are the best hyperparameters in the model. Okay, this accuracy is 91%, which means it just dropped a bit, which is normal in hyperparameter tuning operations like grid search. And this is the confusion matrix. Okay, so let us move on to random forest to see how random forest performs in PAR on grid search. So we'll be loading grid search from sklearn's model selection module and the random forest classifier from the sklearn's ensemble module, and we'll be defining the parameter grid. So keep in mind that the hyperparameter set or the grid is there, right? It varies from model to model. So SVM cannot have the same set of hyperparameter grid as decision tree. Okay. So here we have the Gini and entropy criterions, the number of estimators it has to go through, with the minimum number of leaf sets, the split it has to go through, and n jobs minus 1. So we will define the model as grid search with the base model as random forest classifier and the parameter grid as this. Okay. And now fit it upon the training data, identify the best hyperparameters, and this is the same old mantra which we used to follow before. Run the predictions upon the testing data, identify the accuracy upon the testing data, and similarly the confusion matrix upon the testing data. Let us kick off the training. It's happening. For SVM also in parallel. Okay, so we have the model out. So these are the best hyperparameters which we identified for random forests run. Okay, I think the accuracy hasn't changed much. I think that means for this model, the accuracy for random forest model upon this data, the accuracy saturates at around 92.3%. That can be one hypothesis. I think because in the previous case also we had identified the same accuracy or a similar one, and confusion matrix is this. All right, so let us now move on to SVM. So this is the results. So this shows the power of hyperparameter tuning. So it has the accuracy without any feature engineering or modification of the data has jumped from 60% to over 90% with just a small hyperparameter tuning. So this is a very important weapon in your arsenal as a data analyst. Okay, use it wisely. Now you notice how much changes can happen, right? I think this is good. I think this is the best model which we have made today, right? As of now. Let's just print out the classification result. So it's pretty well classified. Can you look at it? So here we have a next hyperparameter tuning with grid search for k nearest neighbors. Okay, so this is the last one. No, these are all the base algorithm for the k nearest neighbors algorithm model entirely. Machine learning models base algorithm. So just kick off the run for k nearest neighbors. Wow, this is good. Can you see the results? I think both SVM and KNN are performing very good under hyperparameter tuning. So now it's going to be a very difficult job choosing between SVM and KNN, but we can even do a simple model, right? Because both of the accuracy and confusion metrics are almost same. Even looking at the classification report, it's pretty good for both the models. So these are the final results I have consolidated. So I've shown which one improved, which one didn't improve, which one dramatically improved, and which one has the same result. So we will go with SVM in the end because I trust SVM as it improved really well despite not performing good in the start. And KNN has given the same results as you can see, right, from before and after. But SVM has a lot of potential and scope. So SVM is a good choice to go ahead with. So this wraps up our session.